A very good Tuesday evening to all our viewers. Welcome. This is Primetime News. I'm joining you live and direct from my Newsfirst studios in Colombo. I'm Joel Outskun. We start off today with a look at the headlines.
Heavy rains and strong winds in the southwest. Water levels at the Kalu and Ging rivers on the rise. Landslide warnings issued for Ratnapura and Nuwara. SP Dissanayake and several others to extend their support to Gotabaya Rajapaksa. Duminda Dissanayake says he will not allow the SLFP to be dissolved before any other party. I pray that the candidate who opposes Rajapaksa will not be someone who cuts backroom deals, says slain journalist Lasantha Wickramatunga's daughter.
Starting off the news this evening with some weather-related news. Now, the Department of Irrigation said the water levels of the Kalu and Ging rivers are likely to increase due to heavy rainfall experienced in the southwestern parts of the island.
Director of Water Management of the Department of Irrigation, Mala Alawatuwala, speaking to Newsfirst, said water levels of the Kalu River already reached a cautious level in the Muagama area. Accordingly, the minor flood warning level of the Kaluganga is 7.5 meters, while water levels in the Kaluganga in the Muagama area stands at 6.1 meters at present. She added that locals should also be vigilant regarding the water levels in the Ginganga.
A very good evening to all our viewers. You're joining me, Azra Hassan, on Weather First. Let's now take a look at the weather forecast for the next few days. Now, according to the Met Department, the southwestern part of the country, the weather condition experienced in the southwestern part of the country will enhance over the next few days. Now, the Met Department says that areas such as western, Sabaragamu, central, southern and northwestern provinces, also the Gaul and Kalutara districts, will experience showers exceeding 150 millimeters. The rest of the areas will experience showers of about 75 to 100 millimeters. Now, if you look at the windy condition of the country, the areas depicted in red will experience heavy, strong winds of about 70 to 80 kilometers per hour. Also, rough seas can be experienced, especially in these areas depicted in red. Now, the Met Department says that venturing into sea is dangerous. Hence, the department requests the fishermen to be vigilant in this regard.
Meanwhile, a warning level 1 landslide early warning has been issued to several areas in the Nuwara and Ratnapura districts. The Disaster Management Centre has requested locals to be vigilant for possible landslides and ground settlements. The Disaster Management Centre said spill gates of the Lakshapana Canyon and Kotmale Reservoir were opened yesterday following heavy rainfall experienced in catchment areas on the western slopes of the Central Hills. The DMC requests from the general public to be extra vigilant when using the Mahavali and Kalani rivers. Meanwhile, with the prevailing adverse weather conditions, 2 houses in the Midfield estate in Dimbula were damaged after a massive rock and mass of earth collapsed. Our correspondent said 2 women who were inside the houses at the time of the disaster had sustained injuries and were submitted to the Dikkoya General Hospital. Following the incident, this area has been identified as a landslide-prone area. Our correspondent added the police and Pradeshia Sabha has taken steps to evacuate locals from the area immediately. 2 shops in the Ginigathena area were damaged after a mass of earth collapsed onto them. Our correspondent added another 5 shops in the area are prone to damages due to possible landslides.
Strong winds are expected in many parts of the island, especially in the western, southern, Sabaragamu, central, northwestern, northern, north-central provinces and the Trincomalee district. Strong winds between 70 to 80 kilometers per hour are expected. With regard to the weather in the coastal area, apart from the area between Pothuwil and Trincomalee, other coastal areas across the island may experience strong winds between 70 to 80 kilometers per hour. Due to strong winds, rough seas will also be prevalent. We have updated all information regarding the prevailing weather situation in the country, and it can be obtained through the hotline 117. All district disaster management centers have been prepared for possible adverse weather conditions. Police and tri-forces have been informed and are currently being deployed accordingly.
At a time when southwestern parts of the island are battered by heavy rains, other areas of the country are experiencing a drought spell. Water levels of the Selanayaka Samudra in Ampara had decreased considerably, prompting authorities to suspend issuing water for agricultural purposes. Our correspondent said the water level of the Selanayaka Samudra has reduced to 12,500 feet from its average level of 77,000 feet.
Fuel prices were revised with effect from midnight tonight.
Accordingly, the price of a litre of 92-octane petrol was increased by 2 rupees to 138 rupees. The price of a litre of 95-octane petrol was increased by 4 rupees to 163 rupees. The price of a litre of super diesel was increased by 3 rupees to 134 rupees. The price of auto diesel will not be changed. Meanwhile, IOC announced that the price of a litre of extra premium 95 petrol has increased by 4 rupees and super diesel by 3 rupees.
With that, we move on. Joining Primetime News in some headline-making news this evening now, Ahimsa Wickrematunge, the daughter of late journalist Lasantha Wickrematunge, has addressed a letter to Prime Minister Ranil Wickremesinghe. The letter is regarding comments made by the Prime Minister during his speech at a political gathering yesterday.
The letter reads, quote, yesterday in a political speech you referred to my father and your close friend Lasantha Wickrematunge, who was murdered on 8 January 2009, responding to a claim by Gotabaya Rajapaksa that as president he would create an environment without fear. You asked whether Rajapaksa would apologize for my father's murder and several other gruesome crimes. Let me put your mind at ease. No, Gotabaya Rajapaksa will never apologize for my father's murder. But have you, Prime Minister? Will you apologize for spending the last 4.5 years protecting and cavorting with the man you today call a mass murderer? From the day my father died, you have invoked his name to win votes. My father's murder was a prop in the 2015 presidential and parliamentary election campaigns that made you Prime Minister. You brought President Sirisena to power and won control of Parliament for the UNP, all by promising justice for my father's murder. As soon as you came to power, your priorities changed. When I met you at Temple Trees in February 2015 to appeal for your support in making sure my father's killers saw justice, you told me that there were other priorities and that justice was not just about Lasantha. The letter further adds, quote, because it is election season, you are publicly attacking him as a killer. But even as you do so, your Chief of Staff Sagala Ratnayaka and other ministers are visiting him and spending hours at his residence. Your government is allegedly issuing him irregular identity cards and passports, and your senior aide and niece is openly promoting Gotabaya Rajapaksa's campaign propaganda on social media. I pray that the candidate who opposes Rajapaksa will not be someone who cuts backroom deals and compromises his principles to ensure his own political survival to the detriment of his party and his country, unquote.
Presidential candidate of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Gotabaya Rajapaksa, paid homage to the Attamastana along with the Sri Jaya Mahabodhi in Anuradhapura today.
Gotabaya Rajapaksa called on the Attamasthanadipati Venerable Pallegama Sirinivasa Thero and obtained his blessings. Opposition leader Mahinda Rajapaksa and former First Lady Shiranti Rajapaksa also accompanied Gotabaya Rajapaksa in this visit. Gotabaya Rajapaksa then paid homage to the Jai Shri Mahabodhi. Thereafter, Gotabaya Rajapaksa visited the Mirisvatiya sacred grounds and called on the chief incumbent, Venerable Ithala Vatunuvave Jnanatilaka Thero, and obtained his blessings. Then the group reached the Lanka Ramya and called on the chief incumbent, Venerable Ralapanave Dhammajoti Thero, and obtained his blessings. Gotabaya Rajapaksa then left for the Abhyagiri Stupa. After witnessing the chief incumbent, Venerable Kallanchiye Seelaratana Thero, the group reached the Abhyagiri Purvarmaya and called on the chief incumbent, Venerable Potane Dhammananda Thero. The presidential candidate then went to the Kuttampokuna Rajamaha Viharaya and called on the chief incumbent, Venerable Ihalagama Pavarakitha Thero, and then called on the chief incumbent of the Jayanti Viharaya, Venerable Nugetanne Panyananda Thero. Gotabaya Rajapaksa also called on the chief incumbent of the Chetavanarama, Venerable Ihalahalmillave Ratanapala Thero, and obtained his blessings.
Treasurer of the SLFP, SP Dissanayaka, says that a group of SLFPers, including himself, will support the presidential candidate of the Podujana Peramuna.
We contested in the previous provincial council elections. The Podujana Peramuna obtained 5 million votes, while the SLFP obtained 1.4 million votes. The UNP only obtained 3.4 million votes. Therefore, we must consider the strength of the Podujana Peramuna. This party has emerged as a massive, well-organized political party with a huge presence in digital platforms. If I describe it using the words of Basil Rajapaksa, this party is only second to China's Congress Party in the whole of Asia. Therefore, does this party not have the right to name a candidate from the leftist front? We must accept that right. Prior to announcing Gotabaya Rajapaksa as the presidential candidate, Mahinda Rajapaksa had met with President Maithripala Sirisena and held discussions for about 2 hours. I inquired from both, and they said discussions were successful. It is certain that Mahinda Rajapaksa would have informed the president of Gotabaya Rajapaksa's presidential candidacy. I believe that President Sirisena would have congratulated and conveyed his well wishes for him. This is why Mahinda Rajapaksa and President Sirisena said their discussions were a success and positive results can be expected through these discussions. I believe the decision taken by our groups, including MPs Sarath Amunugama, Dilan Pereira, is timely and accurate. We firmly state that we will join forces with the anti-UNP alliance and sacrifice our lives to ensure its victory.
Hello.
රංගෙද
ආවෝ
රංගෙ කොහෙද ඉන්නේ
මම දැන් ඇවිල්ලා මේ හරි කොටදෙනියාව
එන්නේ නැද්ද ඔයා
කොහෙද කලම්බුද
නෑ බං අපට
මම ඊයේ චිත් එක කතා කරගත්තා මතුමා
ඔව්
එච්චි මට කතා කරා
ඔව් නෑ ඔයාලට තිබ්බ බය ඔය අපේ ටීම් එකක් මේ UNP එකට ඇයි කියලානේ
ඔව්
ඒකවත් නැහැ.
The national organizer of the SLFP, MP Duminda Dissanayake, said the stance of the SLFP in the upcoming presidential election is a critical factor. He made this statement while participating in a party meeting held in Anuradhapura.
They cannot elect a president without the SLFP. Now the Podujana Peramuna secured 5 million votes and a majority of powers in the local government elections. Now, if the same results are obtained in the upcoming presidential election, will the Podujana Peramuna candidate succeed as the president? No. Now, this will not happen as they are still short of 1.5 million votes. Therefore, any party cannot win without the 15 million voter base of the SLFP. President Maithripala Sirisena and Mahinda Rajapaksa have held discussions and these will continue in the future. However, we are yet to take a final decision in this regard. We will only proceed after the final decision. However, at any given point, we will not dissolve the SLFP to the Podujana Peramuna. What will happen to the SLFPers if we do so? We will be pushed to the last slots on the list. If we do join them now, there is no doubt that they will welcome us warmly. However, what will happen after the elections? They will claim that they were the members of the party first and give them priority. Therefore, as a party, we must discuss these matters properly prior to forming any agreement.
Leader of the National Unity Front, Asad Saleh, convened a media briefing today.
Not a single person or a Thero came to Goldface when Gotabaya sold the land to Shangri-La. Nobody from the government came forward. They were afraid of Gotabaya and white vans. Cases have been filed at high courts. If possible, the presidential candidate of Pohottuwa come forward and tell Keith Noya that he was not attacked by this candidate or that he did not kill Lasantha. If possible, the entire Rajapaksa family come before the media and say that they did not kill the person who requested for water. The people will then vote for you.
කියලා හත උස්සලා කියන්න ජනතාව උගලන්ට ඡන්ද දෙනවා. කලින් මාත සාකච්ඡාවේදී ඔබතුමා කියනවා 130යි. පරිස්සමින් ඉන්න 130යි. අනිවාර්යයෙන්ම. අපි සුළු ජාතිකයේ ඉදිරිපත් කරනවා කියලා. රටේ මිනිසුන්ට
I urge the people to use their second and third votes as well. They will be counted. Nobody will be able to obtain 50%.
එකක් ගන්න බෑ කරා. හරි ඔබතුමාට කියන්න බලන්න ඔබතුමාගේ අපේක්ෂකය කොහොමද කියලා.
Why do we have to reveal it now? We don't have the urgency like Gota does. We will present a candidate or we will make a collective decision to present a candidate who is preferred by everyone. We will present a document. We will support only if they agree to the contents of this document. No, that is not possible. We can't do it with racists. Can't speak to the Pohottuwa because they are here to destroy the minority. They have been doing it all along. So they will not provide relief to the Muslims.
මේ ඉතිහාසය තියලා බලුවොත් ඔබතුමන්ලාගේ කන්න අපේ කියන ඔබතුමා කියන ඔය සුළු ජාතික ඡන්දවල ඉන්න අමාත්‍යවරු හැමදාම අමාත්‍ය දුර ගත්තා. ඒක තිබුණේ.
It was back then. It will not happen hereafter. We heard what Vimal Veeramansa said. We heard what Uday Gammampila said. They have already stated that they will not involve Rishad, Hakim and the rest.
ඒ කියන්නේ ලැජ්ජ නැතුව එතෙන්ට යන්නේ නැහැ කියන කතාව ඔබතුමා කියනවා. යන්න දෙන්නෙත් නැහැ. නෑ ඒක වෙන්නේ නෑ. ඒක එන්නෙත් නැහැ. ඊයොත් මොකද කරන්නේ? එන්නෙත් නැහැ වෙන්නෙත් නැහැ.
The National People's Council convened a media briefing in Colombo today.
අපි කියන්නේ සුගතදාස ගෘහස්ත ක්‍රීඩාංගනේ රූගත කරපු එක් කෙටි චිත්‍රපටය.
A short film was directed at the Sugathadas Indoor Stadium and it was called the Sri Lanka Padujana Peramuna National Convention. We saw how a group of robots acted as per the instructions provided. There were no people there. We saw people in Badulla. This is the type of politics Gotabaya Rajapaksa follows. Gotabaya Rajapaksa needs machines to follow his instructions. Gotabaya Rajapaksa said that he went beyond his quota to fulfill his responsibilities. If you ask the widows and children who lost their parents, they will testify as to how Gotabaya Rajapaksa took the extra effort to fulfill his responsibilities. The prisoners and the war veterans who were abandoned will speak. Also, even if you question former President Mahinda Rajapaksa, he will talk about how his brother went beyond his limits to fulfill responsibilities.
සීමාව ඉක්මවා ගිහිලා වැඩ කරපු එකට මමත් සාක්ෂි දෙනවයි කියලා.
Another Dhamma school building was declared open yesterday in Anuradhapura under the Sisu Dham Sevanam program.
This new building constructed at Sri Gamura Viharaya in Ranpathwila, Katagasdigiliya was declared open by the Deputy Leader of the United National Party, Minister Sajith Premadasa. This building was constructed at a cost of 4 million rupees under the guidance of the chief incumbent Venerable Kumbukwewa Vimala Buddhithera. We have started a project erecting 1,125 chaityas in Sri Lanka and we are constructing 1,000 Dhamma school halls. They have started to repeatedly strike me. They say at media briefings that I go to temples too much and help too much. However, I didn't start this recently. I have commenced these through Sasunata Aruna program for many decades, not for 2 months. If you support me and grant me your mandate, I can assure you that I will put an end to the Dhamma education under trees. We will provide Dhamma schools, Dhamma school uniforms and lunch to all temples in the country.
Following are the views expressed by non-cabinet minister Ajit P. Pereira at a function held at the public library in Batiklo.
UNP candidate Sajith Premadasa මැතිතුමාගේ නම තාම
Sajith Premadasa's name has not been officially approved by the UNP as of yet. That approval will be given when the parliamentary group and the working committee get together and grant the approval according to the constitution. However, a majority, including the parliamentary group, will very much like it if Sajith Premadasa would become the next presidential candidate. The whole country would like that.
අපේක්ෂක වෙනවට කැමති.
Other parties announced Gotabaya Rajapaksa.
මුළු රටම එතුමාට බයයිනේ.
The whole country is afraid of him. Yes, everybody is afraid of him because of his past behavior as the former defense secretary. Even the people in Batiklo told me that they are not in favor of Gotabaya.
Gotabaya මැතිතුමාට නම් ඉතින් අපේ කැමැත්තක් නැහැ කියලා.
State Minister Dilip Vedarachu expressed these views to the media following an event held at the Southern Provincial Agricultural Development Board.
We are certain that we will receive the UNP candidacy or else we will ensure Minister Sajith Premadasa will be put forward as the presidential candidate of the UNP. We will bring him by hook or by crook. A majority of the UNP parliamentary group have written to the UNP working committee to name Sajith Premadasa as the candidate for the presidential election. We requested for a discussion and the Prime Minister is prepared to do so. There are a few who are causing issues. However, the Prime Minister will announce Sajith Premadasa as the presidential candidate.
We'll be back with more news after this short break. There is now 2 instances where clinical waste has been dumped in Dambulla and Savanagala in an unsecure manner was reported today.
A stock of medicine said to be for cancer patients from the Badulla General Hospital has been piled up at a storage facility of Satosa in Badulla. Priyantha Amarasinghe, the mayor of Badulla, arrived there today to inspect the location. It was revealed that this medicine is highly toxic and have been piled up at this location in an unsafe manner. Doctor, I inquired from the director before I arrived here. They said that you all had promised that this will be removed from here and that you will not repeat this. As claimed, if the stock of medicine is highly toxic, who wanted this to be piled up at this location? These are the empty vials of cancer drugs. These are brought here in large quantities. The workers here too got sick. We are aware of the damage that this can cause to humans. The waste should be set ablaze to at a temperature between 1200 and 1400 centigrades. Earlier, these were destroyed at cement factories. However, these have been brought into the storage facilities owned by Satosa and dumped. These storage facilities are used to store food because they are owned by Satosa. Is it proper to store these vials of poison at a place like this? If the director of the hospital and other officials of the relevant ministries do not fulfill their responsibilities, the lives of the area residents would be under imminent threat. A demonstration was held by a group of people earlier today obstructing the Colombo-Monaragala main road from the Sevanagala area. The demonstration was held to oppose the stock of clinical waste which had been dumped in the Samagipura area in Kiri Ibban Ara, Sevanagala. Traffic flow was disrupted as a result of the protest which was held for more than 1 hour. According to the protesters, the clinical waste had earlier been dumped in Hambantota. However, the protesters allege since the clinical waste had been rejected from Hambantota, it had been brought to Sevanagala. Officials from the Sevanagala police, Tanamalvila police and the anti-riot squad had also been called to the scene.
Newsfirst continuously exposed the identities of those responsible for the waste materials that were imported under the guise of used mattresses. Those steps have been taken to re-export the imported garbage. Those who continue to engage in such scams and gain financial benefit are still at large. The people await until such perpetrators are punished. The people will no doubt consider such garbage matters when casting their votes at the upcoming elections.
Colombo Municipal Councillor Sharmila Gonavela filed a fundamental rights petition at the Supreme Court today against an agreement between the Municipal Council and a private entity to install a smart lighting system in Colombo.
The agreement was signed by the Municipal Commissioner on the 5th of February 2018 while the Municipal Council was dissolved. Sharmila Gonavela in her petition states the Colombo Municipal Council incurs a financial loss of approximately 3.76 billion rupees due to the respective agreement, which provides for the private entity to maintain the lighting system over a period of 20 years. The petition was filed based on information in a report issued by the Treasury of the Municipal Council. The fundamental rights petition claims that public funds have been wasted due to this agreement.
Up next is Action TV.
People in this country are facing numerous difficulties, to an extent where they don't have basic necessities in life. At a time like this, when the public representatives are to give priority to the issues faced by the people, the Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy focuses on something not so important as the problems faced by the people. The Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy decides to rent out a new building for the ministry by paying a sum of 260 rupees per square feet. Now we must note that they've been functioning in a building where only 76 rupees per square feet were paid for the past 9 years. With that being said, if the ministry is to go forward with the agreement with this chosen bidder, they'll have to pay a full sum of 200,800,000 rupees. Now this includes 5 monthly rentals and advance payment for a year. When the Minister of Power and Renewable Energy requests for the money from the Treasury, the Minister of Finance denies and says that the Treasury will not be giving the money. Then they finally decide that the Minister of Power and Renewable Energy should obtain this money from Lanka Electricity Company Limited, or the LECO. But the LECO is not in a position to provide this sum of money for the Ministry of Power and Renewable Energy to rent out this building. Then it comes to an agreement where it was decided that the future levies paid by the LECO to the Treasury will be allocated for this particular building. Then the ministry's secretary to the ministry influences the director in charge of finances and urges her to release the check required for this. But the director in charge of finances denies, as LECO doesn't have enough money once again to provide for this building. With that being said, there is also another interesting fact, and that is that the government valuer conducts a valuation and determines that only 212 rupees and 50 cents will be paid per square feet. But the estimation has been brought up to 260 rupees per square feet. Then the secretary to the ministry once again influences the value and says this 212 rupees and 50 cents should be increased to 260 rupees per square feet. The valuer denies, but however, when this proposal was put forward in the cabinet, without considering the evaluation done by the government valuer, the cabinet grants approval. If this is going to be the case, if the cabinet is not considering the valuation done by the government valuer, why do we even need a valuation department? And can the government approve anything and everything that goes on in this country? There's a presidential commission going on looking into the fraud and malpractices that took place in state institutions for the past 4 years. If there is one such thing as collective responsibility, the cabinet should be wholly responsible for these malpractices taking place in the country. We must also remind you that we have been reporting on this issue for the past 6 times, and now this is the 7th time. And when this issue was brought up, the union activists took to the streets and protested against this. 2 union activists have been transferred, and 1 union activist was brought forward for questioning and was asked for an explanation as to why this was brought to the media. Once again, what Newsfirst would like to remind for the 7th time is that, can the cabinet make such decisions? This is for your attention.
In sports, it's cricket. The test series between Sri Lanka and New Zealand will get underway at the Galle International Cricket Stadium tomorrow.
2 nations have previously met in 34 encounters, and Sri Lanka has emerged victorious on 8 occasions. New Zealand have won 15 matches and 11 games have ended up in a draw. We have a few plans up our sleeve. With that, we have to take a look at the wicket. We couldn't look at the wicket still because of the rain. Most likely, Niroshan Dikwala will play as the wicket-keeper, and Dinesh Chandimal and Kusal Janit Pereira will remain as standby. But if we feel that the 11 should be changed, we might make a change. Definitely, Akila will have a chance with the absence of Dilruwan. Ambul Deniya will play the series as well. Dhananjay De Silva will play as a spinner. So we are hoping to strengthen the spin department through them. Romesh Ratnayaka, who was with us in the team for the past few years, is our coach now. We know him very well. We have an understanding as to what should be done from our end and what we should expect from his end. Therefore, I don't think there will be an issue. The bowling lineup might also undergo a change. We will decide that combination after assessing the conditions of the pitch tomorrow. This is the first series these 2 nations play at the ICC World Test Championship.
It's been great really to look forward to this, the start of the Test Championship, coming away again as a group, albeit a different squad being the Test format. But yeah, the guys have really been enjoying their time together back in camp after sort of having a week off after the World Cup.
Well, that's a look at Primetime News. Take care. Good night.
TV1 රැස් විහිදෙන ජීවිතය